Hey guys, Fry here with another Titanfall 2 video. Let me start out by saying that Respawn are a super talented studio, and they made two of my favorite FPS shooters ever, which are COD 4 and Titanfall 1, Titanfall 1 being my favorite. That being said, Titanfall 2 isn't near as good of a game as Titanfall 1 was. According to interviews done right before Titanfall 2 launched, somebody at Respawn supposedly asked people what could be done to make Titanfall 2 more enjoyable. The response seemed to be that there weren't enough things to unlock. They couldn't figure out which direction enemies were coming from, and they thought the game was too hectic with too many things going on. I would say that if you asked any hardcore Titanfall 1 player that played it every day until the time that Titanfall 2 came out, you would hear a completely different story. Maybe with the unlocks, but as far as the gameplay, all we wanted were minor changes, like no magnetic windows, the option not to automatically rodeo, fix the screen tearing, maybe some more Titan chassis. That's about it. Just minor changes. What Respawn did was a massive change to the gameplay, and people saw that in tech test week 1. After the first tech test, weekend 1, there were a lot of people that canceled their pre-orders. There were people that were even asking for the game to be delayed because everybody was so shocked how much different it was than Titanfall 1. Nobody liked the maps. Nobody liked the way the game played. They took away the bunny hop, and nobody knew about the slide hop yet, so that was part of what people are upset about. So move on to week 2 of the tech test, or weekend 2 of the tech test, and what they changed the drop rate of the Titans because people thought they weren't dropping often enough, and they fixed the wall running, and they added some maps. That was the only difference from week 1 to week 2. So when the game actually launched, I could be wrong about this, but I don't recall there being a day 1 patch. So basically week 2 of the tech test was the launch game, with more maps, slightly more maps, because it only launched with 9 maps. So we got our 9 maps at launch, 2 of which were universally hated, Crash Site and Complex, and then we started getting our DLC maps, most of which were remastered Titanfall 1 maps, which play terribly in Titanfall 2, and then we also got some live fire maps. The way the DLC has gone so far, I would much rather just pay for it and get all new maps when it comes out, when the DLC comes out. So enough talk about the maps. The gameplay. In most Titanfall 2 matches, the game starts to look like some kind of cover-based shooter, like a Rainbow Six type game. You take the low time to kill, the high aim assist, the bad maps, the fact that there aren't any grunts in most modes. And you just have guys that are afraid to move. They're probably equipped with cloak and a G2 or a Spitfire, cowering behind a box or sitting in a corner on a rooftop, like where it's difficult to kill them. They got a head glitch. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. It's a game based on movement. It's known for 2 things: movement and Titans. The wall running, the bunny hopping, slide hopping, whatever, and the Titans. And a lot of that, like a lot of matches in Titanfall 2, that doesn't happen. There's just people camped on every rooftop, and all it takes is 2 guys with a G2, even after the patch, and you cannot move. Take a map like Angel City, for instance. You get a guy on either corner with a G2 and an AWOL, it's game over. You can't move. You can't counter that. You're probably not going to get around behind them to kill them. If after many tries you finally get to this G2 camper on the roof on Angel City, there's a big chance that he's going to either Arcnade you or Gravstar you, or his camping buddy right beside him on the other roof is going to kill you. The game pretty much penalizes you for moving. Titanfall, at least Titanfall 1, was known for movement. It actually incentivizes you in Titanfall 2 to not move, be a stationary player or a campy player. You could deal with that in Titanfall 1. You can't really deal with that in Titanfall 2. If somebody's half decent handling their gun, and they got another person nearby on a rooftop, you can't touch them. Like, you might be able to kill them every once in a while, but I mean, it's the design of this game. It's just some things are just terrible. They're a huge downgrade from Titanfall 1. So in Titanfall 1, I was primarily a CTF player. It was exciting, it was fast-paced, there was a lot of skill involved. In Titanfall 2, they have made it much less skill. Everything is pretty much less skill-based. They simplified everything. It's like my first Titanfall. It's way easier to do everything, including the Titans. Steve Fukuda said in a pre-release interview that they thought the game was too hectic and exhausting, and they felt a need to slow down the game. Man, did they ever accomplish that. Unfortunately, it's not near as fun to play. Like, I like Titanfall 2, but they sapped all the skill out of it. Yeah, you can fly around the map and get your game sager on, but I mean, there's not really... Most people sit on the roof, even months after the game launched. There's no incentive to actually move around the map. You can do much better in a game like PvP by sitting on a roof and picking people off with a Spitfire or a 201 or a 101, whatever, and you're probably going to be the highest scoring player on your team in that case, unfortunately. So they made CTF pretty boring by making it one less player per team. The maps just have an awful design as far as the Titanfall 2 maps. The fact that you don't have stem on spawn, the fact that you have a respawn timer, flag return timer, is just way too slowed down, and that's why I barely play it on this game. Couple that with the fact that if the enemy team has Titans already, you cannot get across these maps the way they're designed. Like, you're gonna die. You're not gonna be able to pull the flag and get across the map safely because these maps are so heavily 3-lane. There were 3-lane maps in Titanfall 1, but not all of them, and the ones they had worked fairly well. Another one of the complaints was that the maps were Swiss cheese style and players couldn't tell which way that the enemies were coming from. I never had a problem with this in Titanfall 1. I always played objective modes, so anybody that plays that and gets a few matches under their belt knows basically where the enemies are coming from. I mean, it's just another thing they simplified when it wasn't really necessary, in my opinion. Let me go a little further and say that Titanfall 2 was designed specifically for the lowest common denominator player. In Titanfall 1, the worst thing you had to worry about was the smart pistol abusers, arc mines, and the arc cannon. In Titanfall 2, however, developers felt that wasn't enough to lower the skill ceiling and make the game easier. We have 3 different abilities that are built in wall hacks. Really strong cloak, melee that lunges across the room. Of course, it's not as bad after the patch. An orange glow around all the pilots. Tails on stem users, you know, that blue tail they have behind them when they activate it. A Titan core that is basically a giant smart pistol. AWOLs, anti-pilot sentries, phase shift, which is way too strong even with one phase. Arc nades that hold you in place. Graph stars that hold you in place. Damn near aimbot level aim assist, which isn't as bad since the patch, I'll give them that. And a lower time to kill. Add all these things together and you see why there is no ranked mode or playlist. There really isn't any point. Respawn seems fully aware of what the game is. It's also why they haven't supported competitive on console as yet. As far as I can tell, they were 100% focused on the casual Call of Duty crowd, as that's where the money is. This game is basically the same game it was Tech Test Week 2 when people were asking for a delay, as many people were shocked at how it turned out. It's a way different game than Titanfall 1. And months and months later, I'm still not used to the changes in the way this game is. I can't say that I blame Respawn for going for the money, because who doesn't love more money? I am just highly disappointed in the game that Titanfall 2 became. I don't hate Titanfall 2. I still play it all the time, pretty much every day. I just wonder how great it could have been if they had continued on the path that Titanfall 1 started on. So I'm going to post some links to the Reddit threads of what people thought of the tech test after week 1, and also Steve Fukuda's interview before the game came out. I'm going to put those in the description of this video if you want to check them out. That's my video, guys. Thanks for watching. I will probably make a part 2 video talking about the Titans. If you watched this far, thank you very much, and I hope to see you guys on my next video.